Hey Brody, this is Adrian. I just wanted to play this and just see. I'm wondering how fast you're throwing now. Looks like tempo's pretty slow. I know it can be quite a bit faster than that. I don't know, kind of going through the motions of this, but I'd like to see, a little bit faster motion out of it. Just to me, it looks pretty slow. So that's something that I want you to work on big time, is just being a little bit quicker. I fixed a kid today, went up about 3 miles an hour just because tempo. So you're squatting low enough, which is good. You got a good squat out of the back leg. That's good. Let's look at your back leg as you push through. Good extension with that back leg. As you throw the ball, your back leg comes up and through. And I want to, this back leg should stabilize and get through and rotate around. The hips should rotate. And what's happening is your knees coming in, and your hip rotates after you throw the ball. So I really want to get that back leg solidified and straighter. So power to the back leg is definitely something I want you to work on. Part of the problem is the front knee. It's bowing out. And what happens is all of that energy from the front knee is now, or from the ball, all that energy is going out of that knee. So 115 degrees is too low. I want to bring that back leg back. And what I'd like to see is, let's see here. I'd like to see about there. So this front knee needs to come back, and so that the chest can come over. And we'll talk about the chest extension later. But huge problem in your front knee as far as velocity goes. It's really killing a lot of it, a lot of velocity. As you plant, you've had this issue for a while, and I don't think I've worked with you for quite a bit. You still have this internally rotated front knee, and this is what is really contributing to the loss of velocity, and also the lack of power to your back leg. So 23 degrees change in your front knee, and it really puts your back leg behind as far as the hip drive. So you've thrown the ball, your hip comes through, but your back leg is completely off the ground by that time. So it's hard to push a ball with your body when your back leg's not on the ground. So that's definitely an issue. I think a lot of it has to is your front knee. Your front knee, both collapsing and internally rotated. That's a huge issue that you can fix. That's something I think you've had since it's been a while. I mean, it's been 3 or 4 years. So that's something you need to fix ASAP, and get that under control. Plant leg. So this is, let's see how far this is, 96 degrees. So you're not stepping far enough. Your front leg's not stepping far enough. I'd like to see about 110 degrees. What that means is you need to step for another foot or so. I mean, you're long and lanky, and we should be using your length. I think the reason why your front knee is so bent at that 115 degrees is because you should have strided probably another 1.5 feet. And you've got to get used to this. But like I said, the tempo of this is so slow. That's why we're not stepping as far as you normally can. I mean, you should really be stepping far. So that's an issue as far as length of your front leg. Let's look at going to stacking. Your lower half, like I said, you squat well in your back half. I think you separate your hands really early, and that can contribute to some things later on. I don't think your shoulder blade gets up into that shoulder blade pinch early enough. I think you could have a tremendous amount of scap load that is missing. I don't know if you guys are still doing bands and all the weighted ball workouts, but that's always been a struggle for you. That scap pinch has been a struggle and out of that throwing side, and I think you're leaving probably 4 or 5 miles an hour on that shoulder, just not holding that tension to the shoulder blade for a longer period of time. But stacking, I'd like to see you stack a little bit more with your upper body. I think that's an issue where your head needs to stay over that back foot for a longer period of time, and I think you separate from your glove way too early. Which doesn't allow your shoulder blade to pinch in the right position. So that's something that needs to be worked with. Okay, next one is front glove. The front glove, as you can see from both sides, your front glove goes straight down. And when I have a glove go straight down, you also have an arm that goes straight up. We need more rotational movement. The big issue in your upper body is your lower half. Your internally rotated front knee. Your chest cannot drive through until that front knee stabilizes. So that's a huge issue. Not to mention, the 115 degrees. So the front glove, it needs to be more rotational this way instead of going straight down. I think if you can do that, first of all, you got to stabilize the lower half. Once the lower half stabilized, then the front glove becomes the second issue. So front glove or front foot, and then your front glove is going to be the second issue that you fix. So definitely front glove is something I want you to work on. Let's look at your elbow. Your elbow's on plane, looks pretty good. Let's see here. About 176, not a huge high elbow. I don't think you have a huge issue. I think a lot of it has to do with that front knee. So elbow's in a good position. We're going to go into chest extension. And this is something that you need to work on, my friend. 27 degrees. There's a correlation between the front knee and the chest. Both of those are kind of intertwined with each other. 27 degrees is something that, let's see if I want you to get about 48 degrees. So you're missing probably 4 or 5 inches from your chest now to that front line. That's where we need to be, and that 115 degrees front knee is not going to work. That's not going to generate enough power and pull down. Where we get the most velocity is directional force. And if your knee's internally rotated, you're messing with directional force. Directional force should go forward. So anything that goes this way, anything that goes this way is taking away from your directional force. So that front knee is a huge issue. And then the second directional force is your chest pulling down, which is at 27 degrees. This just needs to get better. So those are quick fixes that if you can master that, and this is something that has been years in the making. I've been when we worked last, we were trying to work on that front knee, and it's still an issue. Let's look at hand fly out. Hand fly out a little bit, like maximum layback. I think the layback that you have could be greater than that. And then watch what happens. Your arm goes outside of that elbow. I'd like to see maybe splitting that in half, somewhere in there. Splitting that in half, maybe 3 inches this way, 3 or 4 inches, pushing that arm through a little bit faster. But the reason why the arm isn't going through faster is because you have the internally rotated front knee and that front glove. Both of those are issues, and that's why you have that arm fly out. So, that's just what happens kinetically. You have a breakdown if you have something in the back end. you're also going to have that same issue on the front end because your body has to compensate for the weaknesses on the backside. So thanks for sending this in. I apologize for not getting it to you faster, and I will talk to you soon.